Hello everyone, my name's Jamie Thompson and welcome to our first ever Ballestics Fitness Tips video. My intention with these videos is, whilst we're currently on a break from our Ballestics bite-sized tutorials, is to bring you some of the experiences that I've actually had over the past few years, having migrated from the dance industry to the fitness industry. And believe me, it's been like night and day in how I've actually learned how to train in a more positive and sustainable way. So my intention is to actually share some of those experiences with you in the hope that you might be able to put some of this information into practice so that you can really benefit from it in your current training programs, and not just that, but from your entire life, because believe me, some of these tips can be really useful in getting the most out of every single area of your life. So with that in mind, our first top tip is meditation. So, what is meditation? Well, I like to think of it as a stillness practice. Some people associate meditation with religion, but I'm not a religious person. That's never something that's really spoken to me. But I discovered meditation a couple of years ago and started practicing it. And the benefits that I found from that have just been fantastic over the past few years. So I like to think of it as a way of actually decluttering my mind. A little bit like a computer. So with your computer, you know that in order for it to keep working in an effective way and to be able to get the most out of the use of your computer, it's always best to declutter it, to keep your files nice and tidy. I like to think of using meditation in a similar way to that, in a way of actually using my brain like a computer and decluttering it and keeping it nice and tidy. And a bit like I look at it as in, you wouldn't think of leaving the house without cleaning your teeth, for example, or perhaps cleaning your body, having a shower. I like to think of it in the same way. I wouldn't think of leaving the house without cleaning my brain and decluttering all of the noise and the junk that gets stored up in there throughout the day. So that's how I tend to look at meditation, more as a useful tool to help get the most out of the activity that's going on in my brain, because obviously that has a real knock-on effect on everything else that you're doing throughout your day, because you constantly use your brain all day long. So it really is about looking at it in the essence of it being a stillness practice and trying to quiet the mind and achieve stillness within the mind itself, so that you feel that you're in a really strong place to then face the day and face whatever challenges are actually going to be coming up and being presented to you. So what are the benefits of meditation? Why do I recommend meditation? Well, if you have a look online, there are so many different studies that are being done, scientific studies that are actually being done around meditation, to see all the different benefits that you can actually get from it. For example, some of them are, it helps reduce stress, anxiety and worry, if you're experiencing any of that. If you're perhaps experiencing high blood pressure, it does seem to lower that. It can also help with addiction problems, perhaps help you make better choices with your diet, for example, and also with your training. And also if you're having relationship problems, not just with partners, but perhaps with work colleagues or friends, if you're going through anything like that, it also helps you to deal with those things. And if, like me, you can check all of those boxes, and believe me, I've experienced all of those boxes throughout my life, it really has, having practiced meditation now for over a year, it really has helped all of those issues and situations become a lot easier, and a lot of those things have just fallen away. And if I give you an example, I used to find that I was able to maintain a really good training program, perhaps for a month, 2 months, but then something bad might happen. I might have an argument, or I didn't feel that work was going so well, and I'd get in, and instead of feeling like going to the gym, I'd feel like reaching for a glass of wine, and then that glass of wine became a bottle, that bottle became 2, and then it became a negative spiral, and I didn't feel like training anymore, and then I'd have to really try to find motivation to do it, and it just really wasn't healthy. I wasn't able to sustain that healthiness that came in bursts. And so using meditation, I actually found that the sustainability was so much easier because any of those situations that might come up, any anxiety or problems in relationships, for example, or workload, I was able to find I had more control over how I reacted in those situations. And it was more about feeling inspired towards it rather than having to constantly motivate myself, because let's face it, motivation can only get us so far. You can only stay motivated for a certain amount of time, and at certain points your energy is going to crash down. So using meditation, it really helped me feel more inspired to be healthy. So instead of actually coming home after having that bad day, if I just came home, sat for 20 minutes and practiced stillness and tried to quiet my mind, I felt so much better. I was able to let go of all of those problems and situations that were actually happening in my life, so that they didn't then have that knock-on effect to my training. So I was able to help healthily sustain all the work that I was doing. So it really has transformed all of that in my life to become more sustainable. And at the end of the day, that's really what we're all after, is finding a way of actually being healthier towards ourselves. And then being healthier towards ourselves helps us to then be healthier to the world around us and other people and situations. So that is really why, from personal experience, I have to recommend meditation as my #1 top tip. So how do you meditate? I know before I started meditating, I'd heard about it before, and I was it's just not something that I think would work for me. You know, I kind of thought, well, I don't have time, and how on earth am I going to find 20 minutes to sit down and actually try and find stillness in my mind? And it was kind of just committing to it. I really had to commit to, okay, to start off with, I'm going to start really slowly. I'm going to allocate 5 to 10 minutes at the beginning of the day in the morning, and then 5 to 10 minutes in the afternoon, where I would sit down and just commit to sitting still and going into silence. There's lots of different ways in which you can actually do meditation. The way that I started was with Deepak Chopra and Oprah Winfrey's 21-day meditation challenges. I came across them online, and it was this free meditation experience. So I started using those to start off with, and you get sort of about 10 minutes of meditation where you're sitting and you might use a mantra, so a word that you'll repeat over and over in your mind to focus on, so that you don't focus on all the other chatter. And when I first started, it was really, it was difficult. It was, I wasn't quite aware actually of how much chatter was actually going on in my mind. You know, I was sitting there with my eyes closed thinking, this isn't working, I can't feel anything, how on earth is this supposed to benefit me? You know, I'm not going to be able to do this, I'll never achieve it. All of those kind of things kept going through my mind, and then also, how ridiculous must I look? How stupid does this sound? God, if anyone could see me now. And once I kind of got over all of those things and actually started listening to what was going on in my mind, I realized that I was able to observe those thoughts. So I was able to sort of stand back from them and just watch them going through my mind, a little bit like a film, a little bit like a movie through my mind. And then once I was able to do that, I was able to try and stop the thought and actually focus on the points in between those thoughts and in between those words, so that I was able to find this gap, like a stillness, a silence within that. And the more I just practiced focusing on that stillness and on that silence, the more that silence and stillness was able to become sustainable, and I was able to sustain it, not for very long periods of time, a few seconds, and then the chatter would start again. But like anything, and like your Ballestics classes and like these tutorials that we've been giving you, the more you practice something, the easier it becomes, and the quieter my mind got. And so just sitting down and committing to practicing it was really the first hurdle to get over. And then finding the silence came with that practice. So I would say probably after about a month of doing it twice a day, for 5 to 10 minutes twice a day, and then I was able to find that silence and start to hold on to that and maintain that. And then gradually I increased the length of time that I actually started doing it, and now I make sure I get in at least 20 minutes twice a day, so about 40 minutes a day. If I can get an hour in, then that's brilliant, because the more that you actually do it, the calmer and quieter your mind gets. So if you are interested in actually trying to find out more about meditation, you can have a look in the email that this video came in, and see some of the links that I posted in there to help you. I would advise the Chopra Center, Deepak Chopra, his meditations you can get online and they're brilliant. And also somebody called Brendon Burchard, who does release meditation technique. That one I found was really, really good, because it really helped me release a lot of thoughts. You just keep saying release over and over in your mind, and that helped me release a lot of things that I've been hanging on to for a very long period of time. So, but there's so many different ways, and if you have a look online, there really is lots and lots of different ways in which you can find and engage with meditation. And it's about finding the right one that suits you, the one that fits you the most. Even just sitting and listening to your breathing, focusing on your breath, or focusing on the sound of an air conditioning unit or something that's kind of a constant kind of noise, just focusing on that helps distract your mind and take your mind away from all the constant chatter that's actually going on in there. And it's about finding, as I say, the right program for you. So do have a look online if you're interested, because I really, really cannot recommend it enough. It's literally transformed the way that I actually live on a day-to-day basis, and the results that I'm actually seeing from practicing meditation with regards to my training, with regards to my work, with regards to my relationships with my family, my friends, my partner, all of those things have started to become so much more healthy and so much more enjoyable. I laugh so much more, I have so much more joy now and so much more enjoyment in everything that I do on a day-to-day basis. And it's not easy. There are days where it's harder than other days, and some days where it doesn't quite feel like it's going great. But on those days, I let myself off the hook and I don't beat myself up about it. I go, okay, well, this is my meditation experience for the day, and it's different, from day to day. And if you do find it difficult to actually sit still and do the meditation itself, one thing you could also try is just presence, trying to be present in the stuff that you're doing. So for example, if you're making a cup of tea, really focus on making that cup of tea, on what you're doing, putting the water in, putting the milk in, using the spoon to actually stir around. Really focus on the little things that you do, perhaps walking up the stairs, or anything, just finding some little thing that you're doing and really focus in on that. It really just helps stop all the chatter that's going on in your head, which, just like when we do the Ballestics bite-sized tutorials, I always say, let's take some deep breaths so we can declutter the mind. It's really about decluttering the mind and cleaning it up so that you're leaving space for lots of good things to actually come in that you can then start putting out there. So look it all up online, get more involved in meditation. I honestly cannot recommend it enough. And that's our top tip for the day. So if you'd like any more information about any of the things that we've talked about in this video, do get in touch with us here at Ballestics headquarters. You can either email me direct at jamieballestics@gmail.com, or you can contact us through Facebook, any social media, and we'll be able to give you a lot more information if that's what you would like. So I really hope that you do start meditating. Trust me, it's a winner. It really is a winner, and you'll see the results if you stick to it and commit to it and keep practicing. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, and until I see you again next time, start meditating.